for putting up with me. Last night was a really difficult night because Restream, the streaming platform I was using, just went. They changed the idea, the way things appear, the way I share screen. But I think I've come to understand a way I can use it to our advantage. Again, remember what Roseanne says. What is a human being? A human being is an entity, a species that can change and adapt. And that's going to be very important in the near future, to be able to not to react emotionally necessarily, but to change your ability to balance, to keep your balance while things are coming at you. So yeah, things are proceeding in a really nice way, in my opinion. Up here, where I'm adapting to situations here as well. I realize that in order to get my garden going, which I've enclosed my garden now. So in order to really to get the garden into a serious position where I can really grow some nice things, the soil has to be completely reworked. Hey, Michael Double. So I thought to myself, well, I'll just go to Home Depot. They sell this kind of thing for a couple. It's a couple of cubic. I think it's maybe like a yard big. It's for like $10. Hey, Andrew Smith. Hi there, Stephen from Restream. Oh yeah, I'm live now. Okay, we'll talk later. Um, but so here's the idea of adaptability, and here's where this is important in terms of practical matters. I thought to myself, and I told Danielle, we'll just go to Home Depot and we'll get like 5 bags of dirt every time we go there. They're pretty big and they're pretty good. It's pretty good material, not the best necessarily, but it would definitely, after a while, we would be able to fill up our garden. Hey, Tom Carab. Hey guys, where am I living now? I am in northern Arizona, in the Aquarius Mountains, near Kingman, Arizona. Well, I'm at 4,500 feet, thank God. Super Bowl sponsored by the Devil Sports Network. Yes, indeed. At any rate, so I thought to myself, well, I could continue to buy bags of soil at Home Depot, or I can find soil here perhaps. So we don't have any trees, we don't have any leaves, but we have lots of cactus. And I discovered that if you find a deceased cactus bush, I think these are prickly pear. If you find a bush that's turned black, a cactus that has been dead for a while and it's turned black, it's scarab. It's the make of your boat. Yeah. Super Bowl sponsored by the Devil Sport. So knowing what my father taught me, which is keep your leaves, keep every leaf and mulch it, mulch everything you can, sticks, whatever you got. So I don't have leaves up. There are no leaves on the ground in the desert, but there are these they're actually blackened cactus. So I figured let's mulch the garden with this cactus, because the prickers are actually somewhat denatured. They're not they're not so fierce anymore. They've kind of been softened by time. So I dug up. I started transporting some of this thing in my new old wheelbarrow. Found this wheelbarrow on the desert, and we redid the tires. It's still an old wheelbarrow, but it's a heck of a lot better than a new one. The new ones are like, everything is like for Mickey Mouse. It's like I'm living in the desert, man. I need a wheelbarrow, this is a real wheelbarrow. You can tell it's got some use on it, but it's an old time wheelbarrow. It's not like one of these little plastic jobs you get these days. So I'm bringing all this cactus, all this dead cactus, and then I said, well, let's just see what the soil's like around the cactus, around this dead cactus. And it was like so rich. There were no rocks in it. I could sink my shovel all the way in and come up with this powdery, light, fluffy, essentially probably hundreds of years of cow manure that's been transformed into high quality soil. It still has a cow manure smell to it, but so I'm starting to transport. I have a lot. I need a lot of topsoil for the to really to get the garden started. So I've been doing that, waiting for a long time to finally be validated by the minute. I think so. I think there is a validation coming, and it's wonderful. V for Vendetta, one of my faves. Oh, I'm so glad, Mommy Wolverine, because I got a post from SG Anon that I want to share, and I'm now in new territory with the ability to post things. So I'm on a little bit of a shaky ground. You'll have to bear with me. I can't get sound on my videos yet, but I can scroll and have a picture of me at the same time, which is new. Halfway through re-inhabiting to Inspirational Republic. The Republic is where it's at, guys. We as a community, each state must have 8 officers in place and 30,000 members in order for the White Hats to come out and announce the JSARA 120-day elections. And the people of the Republic will be the government. I think it's called de jour. I think de jour means of the day, right? Isn't that like soup de jour means soup of the day? The de jour government, the active government will be the Republic, this interim government for 120 days while the election is happening. And then the country will elect their leaders. And again, the government will be 10% of the size it is now, according to JSARA law. So this interim government must be formed. This is the Republic. We must form this interim government. That's you and me. That's your job. Let me just share the video. Let's see. I am completely into this, and I understand its importance, and I understand that this is real deal. This is where digital warriors become a force to be reckoned with. We become the government for 120 days, and then people will elect their own government, the Republic, a real government, a divinely inspired government of divine laws for divine people. This is where we're going. And this channel, I just spoke to a friend of mine who is my kind of my buddy in the Republic, who's helping me broadcast these things, that this channel is going to be steering more heavily in that direction, and we're going to be helping people understand the importance of the Republic. Probably I'll be doing a lot more shared videos with people that can explain better than I can what the Republic is about, instead of de facto, right? De jure. Am I right about that? It's like soup de jour. I joined only one in my county. That's beautiful, Tennessee Mountain. So this is something. This is where we go from, like, gee, I wonder what's going on in the world, into let's take action. You all own a little XRP, you got some silver, you got some gold, and you became active participants in your own life. The health thing is very important. I'm a very big believer in the LifeWave patches. Let me just put those up if anybody wants to get involved. Let's see, this is Daniela, right? Yeah, you can get a hold of Daniela, or but I wanted the one with, let me just hide that one. Yeah, I wanted to say that you can call Dr. Stacy or email Dr. Stacy and sign up. She knows exactly how to do it. You can work it out with Daniela too. I really want Daniela to have a business. She likes to do Instagram. She wants her Instagram channel to grow. Let me just show Daniela's Instagram. No, that's the Republic. Here's Daniela's Instagram. If you want to get a hold of her, it's a very good way. But we really like it when people sign up. Let's see, and we want to thank everyone for signing up because this really helps us a lot. Right. Okay. So you can call Dr. Stacy or text her or send her a Gmail. She will sign you up. Become a brand partner. When you get to the website, don't go to shop, go to join and become a brand partner. You'll get much better discounts. And if you want to share with somebody else, it's you can make it into a business. So we have our patches on, and this is also about part of being a sovereign person, is that you're no longer a victim. You're no longer eating the poisons that they give you in the grocery store. You are now actively participating. Like when you become an investor, you're investing, you're becoming a participant in your financial future. This is even more important. This is your health. So you'll find when you engage in the LifeWave patches, as we invite you to join our this pursuit, you will find yourself, well, really, do I really need to eat this kind of food? Is this really good for me? Is this, and you'll be like Danielle and I, we just sit there and look at labels. We come into, it's a funny thing because when I was single, and I've been single like a lot of my life, sometimes even with it, when I was in a relationship, I was still single. But the I've always really enjoyed going to grocery stores. I really like it. But now with Daniela, we tend to get a little testy in the grocery store because she won't let me, I'm like, well, what's wrong with popcorn? And she's just like, well, it's not, it's this, it's that, it's not 100% heirloom. They say it's organic, but it's not really, it's not really a corn is, whatever. But we get into these little stiff. I'm like Danielle. She says it's got like 5 ingredients and one seed oil. If it has seed oil, for sure, it's a no. I don't even have to say, can we buy this? Because I know Danielle will say. But you really start to become an active participant in your health. And like Danielle's rule of thumb is, if it has more than 4 ingredients, we just don't buy it. It's just, if it's got all these weird chemical things in it, forget about it. All right, so enough said with that. But we thank everyone who supported us, and I encourage you and I invite you to call Dr. Stacy and get involved. You'll be helping us. And if you want to call Daniela, I really like to see her engaging with people. She was very hesitant to communicate with other people when I first met her, but after doing the patches for a while, she's quite verbose and she's really out there, and I'm just so pleased that she's feeling more comfortable talking to people that she doesn't really, doesn't she's just meeting for the first time. But yeah, let's go back to talking about the let's go oh, what happened? Let's go back to the thing is very live now, that my restream channel. We will be talking popcorn and tallow. Yeah, that's what she wants. I'm a holdout, man. I'm still like I just can't bear to use our precious tallow. Is really expensive. I'm not quite there. We've made it with tallow, but generally I'm still with the olive oil, and she doesn't like it that I use olive oil, but she doesn't let me eat popcorn that often anyway. But we will talk more about the Republic, and this channel is going to be continue our dedication. So I spoke to my friend, and we're going to have more visitors come to our evening channel from the Republic, as well as we're doing the Thursday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern time on this channel. We do a veteran show. Really, it's really a show for veterans, and we're trying to call back all the veterans that have been lost out there in the abyss of a country that doesn't really appreciate its veterans, perhaps the way it should. Certainly, the creepazoid satanic Illuminati parasites are not fond of military. Seed oil has many harmful effects. Yeah, we stay away. We eat a lot of butter, and I'm very happy about that. I mean, I never thought at this age I'd get to eat butter and salt. I'm telling my son, we eat a lot of salt. He's saying, really? You eat salt? It's just like, because he's in the Matrix. Yeah, people get suppressed on my channel. What do you mean? I don't know what you mean by suppressed on your channel. But anyway, we'll probably figure it out what he or she means. I guess she. But we will be focusing more on the Republic. I now want to go to this post by SG Anon. That mush about free speech. I don't know. I don't know what this is. Let me just let me take care of this. Okay, so this is a post by SG Anon that I think is absolutely brilliant. And you'll have to bear with me because my screen sharing has changed as of yesterday. Suddenly it's changed. Has your brother reached out? No, my brother is firmly entrenched in the other side. I don't have high hopes to. I love my brother. I raised my brother. My brother was 5 years younger than me, and I really had it was like my first teaching job. I taught him a lot, but I was a little bit, in my early 20s, I guess I was off the wall. So I think he just decided he didn't really want to do much with me. Troll, yeah, it was a troll. But yeah, so I mean, I do have hopes that eventually I'll speak to my brother. My brother was the assistant Secretary of Defense in charge of nuclear, biological, and chemical weapons under Obama. And having a picture of him with Obama saved me many times in my public school job, because I would slip and say something about Obama. I would say Obama or something like that. And generally the kids were kind of okay with it. My thugs, I taught like the tough kids in Brooklyn, but administrators were not fond of me, as you can guess. And they would, they were like, did you say, I once said in the teachers lounge, they were talking about Obama being the first black president, and I said, he's black? I mean, like that. And it was, like World War III went off in the Department of Education. But I had a picture in my pocket of my brother and Obama hanging out on Air Force One or whatever it was. They did a lot together. So I think eventually my brother quit. I don't know. I can only imagine what he saw. At any rate, this post by SG Anon, brilliant post, talking about V for Vendetta. I'm going to read the post itself because I think he says it a lot better than I'll be able to say it. And bear with me. Let's see if I can pull this off. Okay, we'll go like this because the print's a little bigger. Okay, this is cool because I can scroll. I didn't have this feature before. The only thing is I can't play videos. I can't get the sound yet. but I'm sure Restream is working on it, and they'll let me know what to do. Okay, so here I'm just going to read this letter. It is absolutely a brilliant thought about the movie V for Vendetta and its relationship to us right now. Remember in the Hollywood black blockbuster movie V for Vendetta, when Evie, the film's main female character, is kidnapped, beaten, tortured, starved, waterboarded, threatened with execution, and psychologically broken down for almost a year in an underground prison environment. Remember how Evie's abductor torturer for that long period was actually her protector from earlier in the film, the very same guy who had prevented her from being raped on the street by government agents working for the tyrannical regime. Remember how, when she found out it wasn't for real, it didn't make the pain of her experience any less real, but did propel her to connect for the first time in her life with the force, with the Almighty God. God is in the rain. In the end, she faced and rejected her nation's tyranny, the same tyranny that murdered her parents and siblings, became fearless, resolute, immovable, willing to speak boldly and to fight for her permanent freedom and the freedom of others. Now, replace Evie with we the people. Think of the Republic, right? Replace V with the highest level command and control military generals across the Western world. What SGAnon is saying, in my humble opinion, is that the White Hats are in control of the movie, not completely in control. And to what extent that means, we don't know. But within this is like the character V imprisoning Evie, who he just saves from the government. In a way, the White Hats are treating us to a rewashing. I'm going to link this in to a post by Daniel R. of War Correspondent, and see if you can. This follows not this post, but there's another post he put out that I think, here it is, that really captures this idea that we now, when I say we, maybe you should try Bunyan pines for tree at high altitude, highest pine cones in the world, and you can eat them. Don't know if you can. Yeah, the pine trees don't do well on my at 4,500 feet. At 5,000 feet, the pine trees do fabulously. So I am playing with pine trees. I do have some things in mind. Juniper in particular does well here. But see if you can relate what Daniel R. is saying, and hopefully hopefully it'll be bigger than this. Let's see if I can read this. Oh, I can't. I can't. Okay, well, here we go. No, it's even smaller. Okay, this is a problem. Let me go back. Let me stop sharing. Let me try this a different way. Here we go. Let's try this. Okay, I still can't really see this. Can this be? Okay, I still can't read it. I stopped sharing. This is really driving me nuts. Okay, let me see if I can just go to, let's see if I can do this. No, it's still so tiny. I really apologize. Can this get bigger? No. Sharing. Stop sharing. Ellie Zoom. This. All right. I can't. This is my big issue that I'm dealing with Restream about. And I don't think I'll be able to really summarize it because he does such a beautiful job of it. I'm going to have to work on that one because I don't know how else I would share it. I mean, I could look at it. Let's see if I can just look at it myself. No, I don't want to do that. I don't know. I don't know how to do this. Okay, but anyways, if you go to my feed on X, it's eWebstar13. You can see this post by Daniel R. Or even better, go to your own X station, X channel, and type in war correspondent. He has a beautiful thing about how everything has to be repeated. Everything, in order to wake people up, they have to go back to the same situation. This is called, in my mind, this is related to the idea of a timeline shift. So just like they may have been fooled by the COVID Holocaust and they may have fallen for it, the same announcers, like that CNN announcer who they say is Hugh Hefner's son. Uh, I don't know his name, but that he is now talking about Q. So the same people, the same situation, the same newswork and networks, and I assume this is why the white hats are not just taking down the whole news, the bad media, the evil media, the mainstream media, which is run by the CIA and the FBI, and it's all like a family. All the parasites get together, and if they're not working directly in the cabinet, their wives are working on CNBC. They're all in bed together, and they all probably eat children, and this kind of thing. It's like, well, what are you doing next Saturday? It's like, I'm gonna have some pizza. I mean, this is anyway. There is a growing sense of outrage. What I'm reading on X, finding out, and this is what Q told us, is that this will unite humanity across all lines because the children, everything is about the kids, and you can't do a more, there's almost, I can't imagine anything more horrible than hurting a child. I mean, what could be worse? I don't know. But that's what the Satanists like to do because it goes against the idea of the divine. It hurts divinity in their sick way of thinking. So that we have to have a timeline. We have to be faced with the same situation, the same guys, the same reporters telling you a different message, but you have to go back and fix the timeline by repeating the same situation, the same set of circumstances that you were involved with, but having different results, which is also kind of linked up to the idea of game theory in my mind. SGAnon is the real, far superior to the new division of Globe Hoax MAGA. Yeah, I guess so. It's like we're in a mini series. What season are we in? Yeah, I think that's a good way of looking at it, Matt Briss. Hinton, Peck. Yeah, I don't know these names so well. Let's go down. Yes, the children. Devil Network needs to go now. Yes, but the same people that fell for it the first time with max vaccine holocaust, they need to have the opportunity to go back and hear the same people say different things and wake them up. CNN, we would rather see them taken out or be forced to eat their own. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. We would, but in order to wake up normies, and that's the goal here. In order to have a republic, in order to have we the people, we don't want to exclude anyone. We want as many people to join up as possible. everyone was victimized. Nobody can say, well, they didn't bother me. I mean, by sea, by land, by food, by water, by air, by doctors, by lawyers. They do everything they can to make your life a life of slavery. Bankers, no, there are writers to know for us. These are writers to know for us. Yeah, CNN at the island. I see a drone shot of Jeffrey Epstein leaning on a golf cart, and when he realized he got in and drove into a garage. This is after his apparent suicide. Right? Is my mom is still with us, and she's doing very well. She's 95. She drives her car to the grocery store almost every day. She stays up to 11 at night. I call her my time. See, that would be 9 o'clock. And I'm like, Mom, I hope I'm not calling too late. She's like, no, I'm just getting ready to go to bed. She's in very good shape, thank God, and just amazing. She sent me a text last night. She said, "What was that detective series that we were watching?" She said, I couldn't remember the name. I said, Monk. We were watching this Monk show. Uh, and by the way, I had a very interesting discussion with one of Daniela's LifeWave people, and she says she no longer watches movies and hasn't for 5 years, and she's more in tune with what's going on. She wants to follow the news because the news is so exciting. I have to admit, I mean, last night I was like kind of berating people for like being into the news and not being into their own ascension process, but it's part of it. It's part of the Great Awakening, and it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious to see what Q told us about years ago, and now it's coming to pass. But Q told us that the thing about the children, 8 million children go missing a year. That is a staggering number. Staggering. It's unimaginable. But in the future, please God, when the republic is re-inhabited, when one child is missing, in my opinion, the whole republic should shut down until we find that child. It's not acceptable. Now, I don't know this Guthrie thing. I don't really understand the details of that, so I'm not going to say anything about it. Monk rocked. Yeah, we really, Mom and Daniela still wants me to watch Monk. I'm like, it's the same show over and over again. It's just the writing wasn't like we just finished this thing on Netflix, Prison Break. It was just so unpredictable and so much fun. The violence was horrific, and I had to close my eyes during about half of it. But better than The Bold and the Beautiful, yeah. At any rate, let's try to go through the future proves past. Let's try to go through the thought stream now that I have this scrolling thing. Let's see if we can scroll a little bit, because there's the information that's coming out on X at least is amazing. I think all the arrests they're doing, cleaning the country of what's right, but most people aren't awake enough to hold the idea. Like there was a video that I saw today that showed a clip of President Trump saying, I don't know what you expect from Biden. They blew his head off. I mean, he said that. It's just not in those words, but basically he was killed in a firing squad in Gitmo in 2019. But most people, I remember telling people, I just like, you really think that's Biden? That's an actor. Look at him. He looks nothing like the evil Biden. But people were like, what? They just, it was just, it was one of those things. When you mentioned it, people just turned off and they left their body, and then they would come back and say, it's really a beautiful day today. They would just completely change. It was out of their realm. They couldn't handle it. Did you see Savannah hosting the Trump town hall where she accused Trump of being associated with Q? Right. Daniela told me this. She described Q as a cult of people fighting against child sexual cults, her hatred for Trump. Was that the woman who asked what when President Trump said, "Is that a bad thing? Is that supposed to be a bad thing?" I remember the movie V for Vendetta. Yeah, so Evie goes through this thing, but it's not at the hands of the government. It is V teaching her that she has strength, teaching her to see her own strength, her own power. Biden went to Gitmo. Yeah. So, but a lot of people, in the last couple of years, I mean, maybe now, I don't know, his ear peeled off, right? Biden went to Gitmo. Yeah. So all this, these are very interesting times. There's no doubt. Let me see if I can scroll because I just need to try it again. Free Tina Peters. Yeah. We got all that. Okay, guys. So let's just look at a few little posts here. Let's see if I can read. See, I can't even read them because they're so small. Let's see if I go bigger. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay, I think I figured it out. So let me see if let me go back to this. Oh, see, I can't click on it. That's the problem. That's where I have to work out with Restream what's going on. Okay, a recap of our awakening. The boot camp nobody remembers signing up for. Let's recap what we've actually been through because Earth time has a funny way of making even the wild experience feel oddly blurry. All right, so I won't be able, I can't click it on. That's the problem with this new system. V was actually a documentary to warn us, right? V for Vendetta was a documentary. This is Zachariah Fisher. I love his post. Not everyone you meet is here to evolve. That's just the truth. Some people will repeat the same patterns for their entire lives. Same stories, same complaints, same cycles, year after year. They don't want to look inward. And I can't click on it, unfortunately, but hopefully that will change. ICE will be patrolling the Super Bowl. Watch the included TikTok vid. Okay, so I'm not going to go into that, but I'm just going to scroll briefly through here. I'm sorry that I haven't really mastered this, but this is all new to me. Most people think they're seeing reality, but they're only seeing what they've been conditioned to accept. The mind filters everything. It protects what it believes and ignores what threatens the story it has built. Okay, we see selectively. War correspondent, Trump told us a little over 5 years ago on September 19th, 2020, that Biden had been shot, that only half of his head was left. Okay, you're not alive anymore if you only have half of your head left. And yet Biden somehow went on to win the Democratic Party nomination. That's the insanity of this whole movie. Why is this very important for currency revaluation? Donald Trump repeatedly stated that the artificial value of the fiat USD was too high for countries like Iraq to trade with America at parity. So Trump thinks the US dollar decline is great for the economy. Right. Estianon, the moment we realize they started wars for profit, they poisoned our food and medicine. Oh my God, they eat kids. The conspiracy nut was telling the truth. So much of our suffering comes from living everywhere except right here. We replay old conversations that are already over, or we fast forward into futures that haven't happened. Either way, we leave the only place where life is actually unfolding. Anxiety lives in the future, regret lives in the past, peace lives right here. Let's normalize not giving an F about celebrities, right? Okay. Oh, this is a great post. And here's the part of the story that isn't being mentioned yet. The stock market is no longer going to be controlled by the Wall Street banks. There's already evidence that the Wall Street banks are no longer in full control of the markets now. This is brilliant. Unfortunately, I can't play it, but I want to say what he's saying is a bit of a a repetition of what I've been saying about becoming an investor. He is saying, and it's so beautiful that he's saying this. He's saying that people are not investors. They're not investing. And that if you're not an investor, you're not really taking part in this beautiful experience of being alive. That being an investor, that it should be for everyone, not just for Wall Street robber barons. And that coming from a government official is absolutely stunningly beautiful. Sealed indictments filed, 629,000, remaining sealed indictments like 500,000. If you think about all the names involved with elections, Epstein, Obamagate, Pizzagate, fraud, COVID-19, human trafficking, and much more, that number makes more sense. Also, it's all connected. That means the RICO Act will have to be installed, used. Most people think healing happens once and then it's done, but real healing doesn't work like that. The same feelings, the same triggers, the same memories have a way of circling back around, not because you failed, but because something that you need to notice. It's kind of like Groundhog Day. Breaking, an armored battalion of Iraq's 9th Division has entered the Green Zone, Baghdad, and has set up defensive positions around U.S. installations, including the enemy. So something is happening in Iraq. This is a beautiful post. I can't play anything yet, but she is screaming. And there are quite a number of videos around this idea that how can anyone continue being like a normal person, like just going through their day when they're eating children? It's maddening. And that's the part that unifies everyone. Wake up. The man is, this guy is like, he's at the airport. I can't play the video, but he's at the airport. He's telling people, you're just traveling. You're going about your normal travel while the Epstein files have come out. How do you account for that? How do you rationalize being like just going around, getting on a plane and everything else when you know they're eating children? The elites, the people who are running the world, are eating kids. I mean, it's shocking. The return of the colored hats. This is Daniela was telling me this about the colored hats. I have to check this out. I'll check that out later. Trump bows his head in prayer. F-22 Raptor. F-22, V for victory, V for Vendetta. I guess 22 would be the letter, the 22nd letter of the alphabet. My next piece is called Nothing Can Stop What's Coming, and the like. So I think sharing can be scrolled and zoomed. Okay, it's on, but I don't see how to zoom it. Let me just see if I can zoom. If there's some way to zoom that the post from Daniel R, because it was quite beautiful. Here, this can I zoom on this? How do I zoom on this? Let me just see. Is there live? I don't see where I can zoom on this. Yeah, I can't. Let's see. I don't know how to make this bigger, but yeah, I'm sure I'll be dealing with the people at Restream, and we'll hopefully be able to figure that one out. Here we go. This whole thing is a little bit maddening. You remember V for Vendetta, Free Tina Peters? Yeah, okay, there are a lot of posts. The pace of the red pilling of the normies is too slow. Right, but yeah, that's just the way it is. I mean, that's why they're normies, and they're not us. We just picked it up a little faster than the rest of us, so we just have to just hang tough, and be tolerant and try to explain what we can. They still don't really want to be told anything. Um, Share specific window instead of sharing your entire screen share. Right, a window. Adjust if you can customize zoom in using OBS Studio. You can use OBS scaling and cropping tools. Yeah, they're not telling. I'm not understanding this. In the studio, yeah, I don't know how to make those things bigger. And I'm sorry because it totally changes the thing. I'm sure I'll get it in a couple days, and I am talking to Restream about this, but it's hard with family still watches fake news. Yeah, it's brutal. The window keys and the X key simultaneous will zoom. The Windows key, I don't have a Windows key. I mean, I'm using an Apple. The plus key, the Windows key. I don't know what the Windows key. I don't have a Windows key. I don't think. But I could just put plus. Let's try. Let's try it. Let's see if we can do that. We'll try it. Let's go to screen share. Let's see if we go to this post, and if we hit plus. Let's see. Let's see if I can go to the. There was a first Daniel R, and then there was a second Daniel R. Let's see. Will this? Ah, yeah. Let's see if we can get it big enough to read. Oh, look at that. Oh, we're getting it. Okay, I'm learning something. I can be taught. Even teachers can be taught. Okay, let's read it. Okay, so here we go. What you're witnessing now is not the crime, it's the replay. Because in this operation to awaken humanity, everything must happen twice. The first time behind the curtain. What the world did not see was the first round of justice. See, I can't click this on. Was the first round of justice done covertly, with precision in silence. Military tribunals have already taken place. High-ranking officials, celebrities, global financiers, and political puppets were arrested, tried, and executed or imprisoned at secure black site locations. The public never saw these events because panic would have ensued. People's illusions had to be dismantled carefully. The secret phase unfolded under the direction of white hats, military leaders, alliances, and divine guidance who knew the majority of humanity was not ready to accept the truth all at once. Many had been programmed for okay, so this is cut off, so I'm just going to have to read what I can. Why this is the way it's done. One, mass awakening cannot be forced. The truth cannot be injected into people. It must rise from within them. That only happens when they see the contradiction between what they believed and what is being revealed. Evil must expose itself. Instead of dragging corrupt officials into the light, many were left to unravel in front of the cameras. Their doubles act out their downfall so the public can see the consequences and feel their own moral compass stir. Biblical prophecy fulfilled. Scripture and prophecy tell us clearly there must be two witnesses, first in spirit, then in flesh, first in silence, then in sight. You are not waiting for justice. You are watching the playback of a completed operation. The truth has already triumphed. What remains is for people to awaken fully so that they never fall into this darkness again. And to ensure that, they must see it with their own eyes. And so it had to happen twice, once in secret and once for the people. The movie is almost over. the truth will not be hidden much longer, and the world will never be the same. Source Scott Brunswick. That's really brilliant. So yeah, that was the post that I think captures and puts together this idea that SG Anon had come out about Evie, that Evie was not being tortured by this tyrannical government. They would have raped and killed her, but she was being tortured by V himself, just like and we're not being tortured by the White Hats, but they had to show the people. Not you. Sometimes you can't just tell people, you have to show them. That's what Q said often. I believe CS, multiple names disguises, is one. I don't know about 107. I don't really know that much about him. Same distinctive voice speaks truth. Tom Bergen voice describes it. Junior plane crash, so many clues and comms. I remember Kelly and Hub News, Dark Legacy, the minus key will help make text smaller. Okay, that's good to know. Thank you. So, all right, so we got through that final post. I'm sorry I couldn't read the whole thing, but I am hoping that Restream will teach me how to be able to click onto a piece so I can show more of it. Everyone should call themselves Mrs. Doubtfire. Again, let's just recap what went down, what we reviewed tonight. The idea of Evie, that we are all Evie. We have all been through this firestorm of personal rejection, of personal transformation, of everything that we were building towards suddenly exploding like a balloon with a pinprick. I know my job at the Department of Education, just one day it was like, okay, it's over. And I've been waiting for 20 years for them to fire me, and they tried everything. But I was I wouldn't let it happen. And it wasn't really me. I was telling a friend of mine that every time, and they tried to fire me continually for 20 years, almost on a daily basis, but that's how I remember it. They were always after me. They were always coming to my classroom with a clipboard and, are you teaching again? You didn't get it from professional development last time? You're not supposed to teach these kids? That kind of, they didn't say it like that, but with the professional development, you're supposed to teach a skill, and there's got to be a pattern to it. They were but anyway, they would get me up to the ropes. They would get all the evidence. They would get all the witnesses, and then the witnesses at the last moment would be like, we like Mr. Weber. He's a great teacher. It was just like, or a certain person that is insistent upon firing me, and I'm sure they had meetings about me probably behind the scenes, that at the last minute, the person who was trying to fire me would get repositioned. So they would send her off somewhere. It's like, this would happen like for 20 years. This went down like that. So I went into town today, and I got pulled over for not having registration. And that's, that could be like the beginning. I don't know. I don't want to think that. I don't want to think in those terms. I don't want to allow that to happen. But we must re-inhabit the Republic. We must join the Republic. We must. I'm from Ivy League, skull and crossbones. Yeah. Who is wearing the mask? Who's behind the mask? He got my subscription. Personally, I never got the vax or wore a mask. They lost, right? So we don't have to be. I don't think fear is mandated. It's optional. But let me just remind everyone to join the Republic. Remember, they need 8 officers per state, like a governor, secretary of state, and a bunch, and then 4 people per county. I'm not sure. We're going to find out more about this on Thursday when the veterans are going to come and speak to and for other veterans. We're also going to have people coming to this time slot from the Republic to explain things, and there are some like how do I say it without saying it? Some people that you're going to want to hear from, that if you've been waiting to find out what's really going on, there are people that are in this pursuit of repopulating the Republic that are in the know, that really have contact with the White Hats. So if you've been waiting for 107 to tell you what's really going down, you might want to come this way more often, because we're going to do a lot of broadcasts with a lot of really cool people who are a lot more knowledgeable about what's going on behind the scenes. I've had to sort of like, I'm a fisherman. I like to catch fish. Why do I like to catch fish? Well, for one thing, I don't really enjoy swimming. I can swim. So it's kind of like, I'm kind of like, wow, man, it's a world that I can never go into. And I have been snorkeling, and it is a beautiful thing for me, but it's just, for me to be in the water is not, it's too cold. I'm very reacting cold. But the idea of fishing to me is that you get to connect to the unknown, to an unknown world through a very fine line. And this was in my life how I first started to connect to kind of like the thought of godliness, because I didn't grow up in a religious family. But so I got my spirituality from fishing, but we've been fishing for the last couple of years to try to figure out what's really going on under the water, under the news, under the political chicanery, and under the movies that we're watching, like what's really going on. And we've had to be very intuitive about our knowledge. However, in the near future, it is my belief that some of the people that we will be featuring on the channel will not be guessing the way I have been guessing and we have been guessing. So I think we have a lot to look forward to. Last night, I was so discouraged by the technology, and I'm still, we'll figure it out. But it's just, I'm not sure with the Russian. I don't unfortunately read Russian. We're not commercial drivers. We're travelers. Okay. We're not commercial drivers. We're travelers. Yeah. We're not commercial drivers. We're travelers. What are you saying, that they can't give me a ticket? Water under the ocean. Lure of the beast. Flounder fishing buddy. And Anton, you're a flounder. I mean, they have flounder in Alabama. They got flounder in New York. I practically my first fish ever caught was a flounder. Back in the day, you could catch a bucket full of flounder in an afternoon. Then as I got older, if you caught two flounder, it was like, wow, man, you're a really great fisherman. It's like, I'm like, really, but yeah, to connect with through that wire with the unknown is really kind of like what's searching for God, or what's searching for spirituality can look like. However, when I got more religious, I completely stopped being interested in fishing. It just was like, why connect with a thin wire when you can just talk to your buddy up there, man. And then it sort of shifted for me into less of me and you, or me and the divine, into just, I can't, there are no words, but I'm not saying that like I found God, I'm just, but it's just like, I don't feel this big separation anymore. I just feel like I go out, I leave the RV every morning, I walk outside my door and I just start digging. And in the act of doing that, in the act of developing a place up here for where we can hopefully live for many happy years together and build gardens and places for animals and the like, or trees maybe. I don't know where this our property is going, but there's a kind of a connection in to me with the sense of purpose. When you feel like you're doing something, you're building something like the Republic, there's a connection to the other, where it's not really you and him or you and her or you and the divine. It's just like you're building together. It's one unit. So I'm going to attempt. I don't know how this is going to go, but I'm going to attempt to play my tune. Let's see if I can do this. I think the way to do it is to start it and then connect to it. So let's see if we can do this. Should I play New Morning or Leaving the Matrix? I think Letting Go. Yeah, Letting Go. That really describes it. All right, let's see. Let's do this because we're thinking of Evie, and the idea of Evie connects to the divine through her experience, even though she realizes it wasn't a real experience and that it wasn't really the enemy. It was just an experience that helped her, and she wasn't, even though it wasn't, let's say, a real experience in the sense, just like the movie that we're seeing, it wasn't really Joe Biden. We're just getting a kind of a secondhand version of it. However, it's no less startling and educational for us. You go to sleep in the divine and you wake in the divine every day. It's a continuous flow, right? At some point, you don't, like, people ask me, do you still pray? And I'm like, why would I want to pray? I mean, I do want to pray. And I do pray. But it's not such a formal thing. It's just like, I don't know. I think we just sort of like, at some point you just sort of like just start traveling together, and it's like when you meet somebody and you're very proper and then when you live with them for a while, you just give them a hug. You don't need to necessarily explain whatever. Anyway, I'm bumbling away. Let's see if I can pull this up. But I'm going to play New Morning and think about Evie. Think about how this is, every day is a new morning, and we're waking up from a long period of darkness. So let's see if I can pull this off. I think I can do it.
Sunday at dawn, the night was hotter than hell and forever long. I can see the first light breaking through the trees. I feel the changes in the cool breeze of freedom. It's a new morning. We never saw it coming, hiding in plain sight. Banksters taking power, stealing our lives. They were looking to bury us in debt, shame and fear. But our roots grew stronger as we reached into the air with freedom. With each day we're rising up in this world with the power of love, with the power of peace, the power of joy, the power of truth, and the power of freedom. It's a new morning. It's a new morning. It's a new morning.
I did it. So I was able to play this song. That really makes me happy. There is hope for this. Well, join the Republic, man. You could be one of the 8 officers of your state. Join your county. I'm more interested in the county level, Mojave County, of reform. Well, actually, not reformulating the Republic, because there was no when there was no state of Arizona when the Republic was active during the 1860. I think Nancy said that's when the Republic was kind of uh, unpopulated. It never was canceled, but the corporation took over. Certainly by 1871 in the Organic Act, they had taken over the country and really the world. But we're coming back. Thank you, Randall Scroll. Yeah, it's a new morning. I mean, that song means a lot to me, because I wrote that. I started writing that when I was in Nashville, when I was leaving New York, and my friends were saying things like, you don't have to. I mean, they didn't say it like this, but they're like saying, you don't have to live in the Matrix. I was still like kind of a Matrix mentality, and I hung out on the Southerners. Man, are just so beautiful. They just took me in. I mean, and it was just my second trip to Nashville, and the first time also. People just took me into the houses, took me home with them, and really helped me rehabilitate me from being in New York too long. But we're gonna take our world back, and we are gonna repopulate the Republic. There's nothing that can stop what's coming. But if the faster we do it, the better, in my opinion. And as soon as we get 30,000 people per state and 8 officers, and then all the counties and everything done, which is not really a big deal. We could probably just share this video, share our thoughts with many people. And again, I just want to thank everyone that has you started using the LifeWave products. I think they're amazing. Reset the X39 stimulates stem cell production with copper peptides. It's tremendous. If the medical community has failed you, perhaps you want to give LifeWave a try. We're having just so many nice people calling us, and we really appreciate the support. It's a great way for us to be able to keep the channel going, because they don't want to give me any money. I mean, they like to cancel me, and but we don't do the cancel thing very well. We just, it's kind of like my teaching job. I was like, you want me to do what? They just made it like, like for years they put me in this like permanent substitute role. Like instead of they stopped having a rubber room, so they put all the teachers they couldn't control. They put us out on this march where we'd go to a different school every week, with the hopes that we'd get too tired of moving around, or that they were hoping that some of the thugs that we taught would beat us up. But I just used it to sharpen my shtick, and I became a very good stand-up comic. I mean, I had to. I'm a little guy, man. These some of the guys. And I loved my, quote, thugs, but the gangsters that I taught, they were the nicest people. It was just the administrators that were unreasonable and pedantic, and stuck on themselves. We're coming into a new world. Nothing can stop what's coming. This is we are taking back our power. We the people, we can do this. Nothing can stop us. We now have an actual vehicle for doing that, which is the Republic. Republicforusa.org. Join it in your state. If you're having trouble with the website, just there are like 3 little lines or 5 little lines on the side. Just choose that and volunteer. Grant volunteered in Florida, and they made him like a senator. I think there are 2 senators per state. I'm learning too. We're all learning together, but this is the way to actually do something instead of just watching it all go by and wondering what's going to happen next and making bets on when the EBS is going to happen. I don't find that a productive use of time to figure out when things are going to go down. It's going to go down when it goes down. In the meantime, keep building yourself up, keep following your dreams, keep joining the Republic, and maybe not complying so much. If you find out that the world is run by gangsters and your taxpayer paying money goes to traffic children, maybe you don't want to pay taxes. Taxes are voluntary anyway. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about my, this guy told me, he says, if I, basically, if he catches me in town, he can put me in jail. I'm like, I don't know. I got to think about this. I got to figure this out. I mean, is this, but I know I have faith. And like I said, I've been doing this I did it for 20 years in the Department of Education. I just have to be honest with them, be myself, and just tell them, listen, it's not in the Constitution. I have to figure this out. But anyway, there's a lot of wonderful opportunities now. But remember that Q said at the end, focus, ascension. It's really an internal job. It's all about the Great Awakening, but it's also about our personal awakening, our personal understanding of our new world. It's a new morning. It's absolutely a new morning, and things are happening very fast. It's unstoppable. Yeah. Clap your hands. Okay. So clap your hands 3 times, right? No problem walking the hoods. Yeah. I never had problems. I was dressed as a Hasidic Jew, and I had the black hat, and people were very nice to me. Very, very nice. I never had a problem with thugs. I only had a problem with the thugs that were running the school system. They were, and period. And you just never knew, because people are people, and they would send me to some place to get punished, and the principal would be like, "Hey, man, what's up?" It's like you never knew who's gonna. It was like being in the fun house. You just never knew what was behind any given door. But life is like that, and it's a beautiful experience. And I thank you for being here. I just want to say that we're going to be learning more and more about the Republic, and helping to actually form it, which is historic. So you guys are the heroes of this new movement towards divine law, towards constitutional law. May the Force be with you. May you realize that you are the Force, and there's really, no, in my mind, no separation between you and Getlakite, between you and the divine, you and divine spirit. Your light. That's why the LifeWave products work, because it reflects your own light. It doesn't put anything. It doesn't add any chemicals. The patches are not chemicals. They just reflect your own light back into your body to stimulate certain peptides and the like. You love the Hasidic community? Yeah, I also did. Listen. I had a ball. I loved being around people that talked about God all day. It was just like, hey, I love this, man. It was great, but when the COVID Holocaust hit and they were like, "Hey man, do what the doctor says," I was just like, I was like, "What? I'm out. I'm out." So, but it was time to go. My son had already grown up, thank God, and he's now off on his own. And so may source be with you. May you realize that you are divinely woven into the fabric of I don't like to use the word God, because God, oh God, he's that scary guy. No, he's not that scary guy. It is you. It is everything. It is the unity of consciousness. It is consciousness itself. You are consciousness itself. So you are wrapped up in and entwined in the fabric of divine understanding, and certainly the Republic is all about living a holy life, not a satanic life. So let's get out there with a big smile on our face and rock the world.